Then that way.
ಇದರ ಕೇಳಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಅದ್ರ ಫೋಟೋ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಒಂದ್ಸರ್ತಿ ನೀವು ಯಾಕೆ ನೋಡಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಂದು ಹಾಕ್ಬಾರ್ದು ಈಗ ಫೋಟೋ ಹೋಗಿತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ
Start. Good morning, students. Hi. Hello, all of you. Good morning. Yes, just let me know. Anyway, the drawings are there still on the board. You can go through that. You remember what we spoke in the last class? That's about the mouth, no? We spoke about mouth, human mouth. Right. Yes, we spoke about the mouth. And I have written the structure of the mouth, still it is on the board. Drew the diagram of open mouth. Okay, correct. That's right. I remember that. Right. So you write some of the points about mouth. Tongue we spoke, right? Tongue you wrote, no? Structure of tongue, right? We discussed about tongue. Okay. Now we are going to continue with that. Okay. So just put it on the board. You can observe it. Yeah, the mouth structure is very clear now, right? So I can just make it a bit down. Yes, it's correct. You could see, right? So here I told you I will talk something about the teeth, right? So this is about the tongue we spoke already. Tongue, it is the highly muscular motile organ of the mouth that helps in movement of the food in the mouth cavity and digestion. It's not actually helping in digestion, it assists in digestion and also help in speech, tasting the food. Okay, this we discussed already. So now I'll give you the type of teeth in human mouth, right? So teeth, we have different types of teeth in humans, right? They're all not same in size and function, right? So we call that as dentition, right? So what is it? We drew the diagram, we didn't write anything. Okay, fine, I'll do it. So I'll talk about dentition. So dentition andre the arrangement and type and number of teeth present in the mouth cavity. How many teeth we get? Based on that, we have different description in human beings. So in humans, the dentition is said to be, first one, it is said to be thecodonts. Humans are called as thecodonts because they contain the teeth within the bony jaw sockets, deep bony jaw sockets. They're not just external. They are found inside the deep bony jaw sockets. We call such, that's why humans as thecodonts. So how do you define thecodonts? If in humans, the teeth are located in the deep bony jaw sockets of the skull inside. Therefore, we call humans as thecodonts. Second thing, humans are called heterodonts. Heterodonts refers to having different types of teeth. All are not same. Different types of teeth are found in humans. Those are called heterodonts. For example, we have incisors. Incisors, that is written as I. These help for biting and cutting the teeth, the food, right? Second one is canines. Canines, they are written as small c. They help in tearing the food. Then premolars are double tooth and molars also double tooth. These are double tooth, they help in grinding. PM. For premolar you write PM, molar you write M. These are for grinding the food. Right? Therefore, humans are said to be heterodonts. Understood? Now, the same tooth I will write here now once again so that you will get an idea. I just erased it, so I didn't remember that. I have to show you. So these are the incisors. So here is the tongue, here is the esophagus, this is the pharynx, this is the tongue, okay, uvula, all this. These are the incisors, 4 incisors, 2 canines on the sides, these are canines. These are the premolars at the sides, these are the premolars. And the end we will get the molars. Same way, get into the lower jaw also. You have the incisors, canines, premolars, and molars. Right? Canine is slightly sharper, like this. Okay. So these are the incisors. Those are which are flat and sharp. These are called as incisor. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 are the incisors. Slightly pointed ones are the canines. And the big ones having double tooth, that was the premolars. At the end, you get the molar teeth. So, as humans contain different types of teeth in the set, we call it as the heterodont character. Heterodonts are having different types of teeth. Then, last one, humans are called as, third one, actually called diphyodonts. The word, remember this word, it is the diphyodonts. Diphyodont, referring to 2 sets of teeth in human dentition. That is called the diphyodonts. These are, first one, milk teeth, appear in the very early stage. Second one is called as the permanent teeth. Okay, we have 2 types of teeth. One is the milk teeth, another one is the permanent teeth. Then you have certain definite formula for this dentition. Okay, so let me give you the formula. Okay, this we call it as the dental formula. Dental formula. We have different types of dental formula. First one I'll give you about the milk teeth. Milk teeth, actually it is appearing at the age when the baby is drinking milk, around the 3-4 months or so it will appear. Sometimes 6 to 8 months it will appear in the infants. Then it will be there up to 6 years to 7 years. After that it will be replaced by the new teeth, that is called a permanent teeth. So how many will get it? You have to calculate. You have a formula for this. This is called 2120. How to write it? This is in upper jaw and lower jaw. How we will get it? 2 incisors, okay, then 1 canine, then 2 premolars and 0 molars, half of it. Then be lower jaw, 2 incisors, 1 canine, okay, canine right like this, 2 premolars and 0 molars into 2. It is 2125 into 2 is equal to 10 by 10. It is the total number is 20 in number, right? So this is about the teeth formula for the milk teeth, right? Next is about the permanent teeth. Permanent teeth, I told you, after certain age you will get, by replacing the old teeth, the new ones will appear. They are permanent in their lifetime teeth. That is called, this is a milk teeth formula. Now I am giving you permanent teeth formula. Permanent teeth formula. It is written as is equal to 2123 by 2123. This also 2120 by 2120 you should write. So how do we expand it? Upper jaw and lower jaw is equal to 2 incisors, 1 canine, 2 premolars, 3 molars divided by, means lower jaw, 2 incisors, 1 canine, 2 premolars and 3 molars into 2 is equal to 1 plus 2, 5 plus 6, 7, 8. 8 2s are 16 by 16 is equal to total you get 32 teeth. This is called the dental formula in human beings. They will ask you this for 2 mark question or 3 mark question. What is the milk teeth formula? What is the permanent teeth formula? You are supposed to write the formula also, right? So write some of the points in this. Let us begin with the starting part of this. Okay, write down. Okay, I think you have written elementary canal parts, no? What is the last thing you wrote? Parts of elementary canal, na? Right. So you have written parts of elementary canal. That is about the mouth, intestine and all you have written, right? Have you written that? Yes, you have written that. Okay. Write down now, first part, mouth. I think you have written about the alimentary canal and the digestive glands, 5 glands. You have written names of that, na? Yes, good. Okay, write the heading, description of digestive system. Write the side heading, description of digestive system in humans. Are you writing? Description of digestive system in humans. Written? First one, mouth. It is the entry of alimentary canal and is the external opening at the anterior end, and it is the external opening at the anterior end. Food is ingested through mouth. Food is ingested through mouth. Ingested through mouth. Okay, write down parts of mouth. Parts of mouth. First one, tongue. Tongue. It is the highly motile muscular part of the mouth. Highly motile muscular part of the mouth. That helps in first one, speech. Second one, movement of the food in alimentary canal. Sorry, movement of the food in mouth cavity. Movement of food in mouth cavity. Third one, tasting the food with taste buds. Tasting the food with the taste buds. Next one, swallowing of food. Swallowing of food. Next, Teeth. Teeth are the masticating organs in humans. Masticating organs in humans. Teeth is covered by the strongest material, enamel, E-N-A-M-E-L, enamel. Strongest material, enamel. Next, humans based on dentition are referred as first one. What is the first one? Thecodonts. Underline. Human teeth are located within the deep bony jaw sockets Therefore, humans are referred as thecodonts. Next one. Second one. Heterodonts. Underline. Oh, I didn't mute, huh? Oh my God, I didn't know. But it's all muted now. What is that you are hearing? Can you hear me or something is happening? Now I think there was some static, ma'am. Okay. Is it okay? Now I tried. I muted now. Is it fine? Okay, good. Right on. Heterodonts. Okay, fine. Right on. Heterodonts. Humans are said to be heterodonts. as they possess different types of teeth in every set. As they possess different types of teeth in a set. That is, incisors they are the sharp teeth that help in biting. Next, canines there are two in number. In each dental set. And they are pointed. They help in tearing. Next, premolars and molars. These are double tooth and they help in grinding the food. Then next, dentition in humans. It is the total number of teeth and their number in every set. In every set. It is a total number of teeth and their arrangement in every set. And their arrangement in every set. You want me to repeat molars and premolars? I write down. Molars and premolars, I am repeating, are the double tooth. Molars and premolars are the double tooth that help in grinding. That help in grinding. Done? Okay, dentation I told you, it is the number and arrangement of teeth in each set. That one dental formula. Dental formula. It is a formula that gives the number and arrangement of teeth in both jaw sets. In both jaw sets. Okay. Write down milk teeth dental formula. Dental formula of milk teeth. Write this whole thing. First write 210 by 210. Then you write UJ, means upper jaw, lower jaw, write total number. Then you write permanent teeth dental formula. Written both. Okay, done. Okay, let's now move on to next part. That's about the dentation in human. We'll now move on to how exactly digestion takes place in mouth. It's not going only. This color is somewhat dark blue color. It's not going properly. Okay, we'll just try with other pen. Okay. So let me start with the second part. Part by part, I'll explain you structures. Then we'll go to the functioning part. Okay. Then second part is actually esophagus. Before that, we have the mouth. Sorry, pharynx. Right? So I gave you the pharynx is the second part after the mouth. So you can see here in mouth, the nasal tract will come here. Okay. Nasal tract and the mouth together they will open in this cavity. This conical opening is there. This is called the pharynx. Okay, this will open downwards. In the neck, it will enter into the larynx, and backwards it will go as a respiratory tract. This is a digestive tract. Can you make out this? So this one is the larynx. It is a sound box. Okay, it is larynx. This is the respiratory tract, and this opening is there. No? This opening of this respiratory tract, we call it as the glottis. Okay. Then the backward opening is there here. This is continuing as the esophagus. Esophagus. It's a digestive tract, right? This, whenever food is swallowed, sometimes it may enter into the respiratory tract. So to avoid this, there will be a flap present here. We call this as epiglottis. See, I'm just enlarging them and showing you. When I do the full diagram, all these things were not very clear. Okay. So what is epiglottis? Epiglottis is the flatter, what do you call the flap that helps in avoiding the entry of food into the digestive tract, respiratory tract when food is swallowed. It will cover up the respiratory tract and stop the food entering into the respiratory tract. Therefore, whenever you are having food and all, you are not supposed to talk or laugh, because when you are laughing and all, the air tract has to get open. Instead of food going into the digestive tract, you will make the epiglottis to stand straight because you are breathing also. So food may stuck here. Therefore, you will get cough and other things to till it comes out. You will keep coughing, right? So don't confuse your tracts, right? So when you are eating, sit in a table. All of you sit together, enjoy the food, and happily eat. Don't talk too much. Don't laugh too much and all while eating and all. Eat nicely. Or after swallowing, you talk, right? Otherwise, two things at a time, you are confusing your systems, right? So this is epiglottis, avoiding the entry of food into the digestive tract. Okay, this is the digestive tract. Now, this pharynx, I told you, conical projection of the opening between both the respiratory tract and the digestive tract. This is the respiratory tract or nasal tract. So the pharynx has 4 openings. You can see here. One opening is from out inlet is one from nasal tract, one from the oral tract, right? 2 inlets are there, 2 outlets. One is going to this, one is going to this, right? This is the digestive tract opening. This opening we call it as the gullet. Okay, this opening I told you glottis. This is epiglottis. See, all the things are mixed up there. Could you identify the differences? Right? So pharynx has 4 openings, 2 inlets and 2 outlets. One inlet is, this is called as the nasopharynx. Nasopharynx means nasal tract is opening. Next one is from the oral cavity is entering, is called the oropharynx. Oropharynx is from the oral tract. Next is outlet. One outlet is here entering into the respiratory tract, it's called the glottis, and another one is a gullet. But for the pharynx part, the pharynx entering into the larynx, we call that as a laryngopharynx. The one that enters into the larynx is called laryngopharynx. When it enters into the esophagus is called the esopharynx. See how typical, how complicated it is. Your throat area is very complicated. 2 are inlets, 2 are outlets. One from the nasal tract, you get the air in. Through the mouth cavity, get the food in. Then there you have to it has to bifurcate. One should go to the back side, that is the esophagus. One should come to the front, that is the larynx. Right? The pharynx inlets are nasopharynx and oropharynx. Outlets are laryngopharynx and esopharynx. Okay, but the openings of that each respiratory tract opening is called glottis, the digestive tract opening is called gullet. See, so many things are mixed up. So, in NEET and any other competitive exams, not only exams, for yourself to understand how beautifully you are made with all the things readily, having bifurcating and very disciplined way to have the food and breathe separately. Okay, correct? Right on. Okay then, right on. Pharynx. Second part I'm talking about pharynx. It is a conical projection where both the respiratory and digestive tracts open. Where both the respiratory and digestive tracts open. Okay, a small diagram you draw to see all the things, pharynx parts, for your explanation. Right now, ma'am, what is the difference between glottis? Array, yaar, Neha. See, glottis is this opening. The opening is glottis ಅಂತಾರೆ. Epiglottis ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಸೆಪರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಲ್ಲ. ಇದರೊಳಗೆ ಎರಡು ಇದೆ ಟ್ರ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ. ಇದು ಗಲೆಟ್ ಇದು glottis ಇದು. Glottis is the opening. Epiglottis is this. What do you call it? The dark ಮಾಡಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ. ಇದು epiglottis. It is the one which will close the respiratory tract when food is swallowed. ಅಂತ ಫ್ಲಾಪ್ ತರ ಇದೆ. ಮುಚ್ಚಳ ಇದ್ದಂಗೆ. It will be like this. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಊಟ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಇದು ರೆಸ್ಪಿರೇಟರಿ ಟ್ರ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ನ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ದಿಸ್ ಟ್ರ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? Along the larynx, the respiratory tract, right? ಹೌದು, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಇದು respiratory tract. ಇದನ್ನ ಬರೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಡೈಜೆಷನ್ ಓದಾ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಇದನ್ನ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಟು ಶೋ ಯು I mentioned it above now. Again, repeat. I didn't understand. Along larynx, respiratory tract. Okay, done. Just short drawing ಬರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಇದು nasopharynx, ಇದು oropharynx, ಇದು esopharynx, ಇದು gullet, ಇದು glottis, ಇದು epiglottis. ಆದ್ರೆ pharynx ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಆಗ್ತದಲ್ಲ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ esopharynx ಅಂತಾರೆ, ಇದಕ್ಕೆ laryngopharynx ಅಂತಾರೆ. Draw that and write those points also side what have written. ಸಣ್ಣದಾಗಿ ಬರೀರಿ, ತುಂಬಾ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಬರೀಬೇಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಾದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು. If you can understand, it's better. Need not to enlarge the diagram and all. Just draw for your information. Because at the end, suppose gullet and glottis they ask, you don't even know. Did you finish drawing? 18. Just short drawing you draw, just forgot the pharynx. Okay, write down. Pharynx show 4 openings. First one, nasopharynx from nasal canal. Nasopharynx from nasal canal. Oropharynx from the oral cavity. Oropharynx from the oral cavity. Laryngopharynx from the larynx. Laryngopharynx from the larynx. And esopharynx into the esophagus. Into the esophagus. Next, right? Epiglottis is the side heading. Epiglottis. It is the flap-like structure. It is a flap-like structure that closes the respiratory tract. That closes the respiratory tract when food is swallowed. That closes the respiratory tract when food is swallowed. I repeat, epiglottis. It is a flap-like structure that closes the respiratory tract when food is swallowed. Done? Okay. Repeated now. What to repeat? Abhigna, I should be slower. Okay, I am slow. What to repeat? Epiglottis. I said epiglottis is a flap-like structure that closes the respiratory tract when food is swallowed. How long back you told me? When long back you told me? Okay, fine, no issues. Done now? You are okay with this? Okay, let's now move on to the stomach. See, part by part, I think you are understanding now how I am explaining to you, right? Now we talk about the stomach. So stomach, you already know how it is. It is a boat-shaped structure. You have seen this way. It will be like this. Stomach, right? Normally, the stomach will have 4 parts. Okay, I'll tell you what are those. So first portion that comes from esophagus. Yeah, you should write even esophagus. Third part is esophagus. Right? Esophagus, you write that first. So esophagus, then fourth is stomach. Okay, write about esophagus. It is the tubular structure that connects the mouth to stomach. This is a tubular structure. The male birth esophagus. This is a tubular structure that connects mouth to the stomach. Next, right? Esophagus does not digest any food. Does not digest any food. Okay, listen now. What it will do? It doesn't digest any food. So whenever food entered here, imagine the food is here. That time it will swell up. Take the food. Then you push it down. So food will go like this in the front. Then this portion gets swell up. This will become flat. Somewhat like this. So this is what we call it as continuous contraction and relaxation. Contraction, relaxation of the tubular structures happen. This is called as peristalsis. Very important word is peristalsis. So what is peristalsis? It is the rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the tubular structures to help in motility of the contents. The things will move from one place to another place by continuous contraction and relaxation. This is called the peristalsis. Okay. So write first esophagus, then we'll go here. Write down. Esophagus is a tubular structure. You are written now connecting between the mouth and the stomach. Okay, good. Right. Food will never digest in this. Or you are written already. It is not food that doesn't digest in it. But by peristalsis, food moves from pharynx to stomach. By peristalsis, good. Nabita is written peristalsis. Food moves from pharynx to the stomach. Okay. Next, right? Peristalsis is the rhythmic contraction and relaxation. Peristalsis is the rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the tubular structures tubular structures that help in movement of contents. That help in movement of contents. Bardra? Okay, now listen about the stomach. So this whole thing is stomach. The first part which the esophagus brings, this part we call it as the cardiac stomach. Then slightly swollen portion here, this will come like this and be swollen like this. The swollen part portion is called as fundus. The major portion, the flat part, is called as the body. The end part that enters the esophagus, sorry, the duodenum, this part is called the pylorus. So these are the parts of stomach, right? Here, when food enters from the esophagus to the, this is esophagus, to the stomach, there are some sphincters found here. Sphincters are somewhat like, they are the blades, they are the flaps. These are called cardiac sphincters. They control the entry of food. When food is full here, stomach is full, it will not allow the entry. That's how it is controlling unit. Even the pylorus will have these kind of flattened structures. These are called as pyloric sphincters. Okay. Now coming to the wall of the stomach. Stomach wall is thick and highly muscular wall. Thick stomach wall is very thick and muscular. In this you get number of gastric glands. Okay. These gastric glands produce gastric juice. This is a thick muscular layer of the stomach. Then it is covered by thick mucous membrane. It is not very thin. It is a mucous membrane covering. It's called gastric mucosa. Then this will be drawn into number of folds like this. Now the mucosal wall will be drawn into number of folds. These folds are called as the gastric rugae. Gastric rugae, the internal foldings of the wall of the stomach. What this will do is, when your stomach is empty, when you are very hungry, these will be forming folds. Stomach become very small. It will become very small stomach. Internally, these folds are formed. They are called gastric rugae. Right? These start rubbing on each other like this. They produce a characteristic hunger sound. Hunger sound is produced by the rubbing of the gastric wall. The rubbing up of the gastric rugae, like zing and the when you are empty, the stomach, you are not having anything. That time stomach wall will be folded like this to form the rubbing sound. That is called the hunger sound. Right? When the stomach is full, these all will disappear. And stretch out. So they will not be there. So all the time you should not allow them to rub each other. Rub arbitrate, they will produce openings and they form stomach cancers. Right? Apart from that, the mucosal wall, mucosal layer, I told you, mucosal layer. This will help in avoiding any kind of damage to the wall of the stomach by gastric juice which contain hydrochloric acid. Because hydrochloric acid is very highly acidic. Then burn the stomach wall. Stomach where a thick mucosal wall, jerky layer, will not allow the gastric juice to penetrate and hydrochloric acid to burn the wall. That's a function of mucosal wall of stomach. So what I told you about the stomach now? 4 parts: cardiac stomach, fundus, body, pylorus. Cardiac stomach is the entry of esophagus into the stomach. That part will be guarded by cardiac sphincters. Then the fundus is slightly swollen part of the stomach. Right? Body is a major portion of the stomach. Pylorus is the last part of the stomach. Right? The last pylorus. This also will be guarded by number of pyloric sphincters. Now, apart from this, stomach wall is made up of muscular layer, which is forming number of rugae called gastric rugae, which normally, when stomach is empty, they rub on each other and produce hunger sound. Then stomach is another covering it we have. There is a mucosal layer, gastric mucosa. Right? The name of that is gastric mucosa. Right? I'll write it here. gastric mucosa. Then it will help in avoiding direct contact of hydrochloric acid to the wall of the stomach and protecting it from burning action of hydrochloric acid. Correct? So many equipments we have inside, unless and until we only spoil it, because so many times all these layers are there, no? These muscular, the mucosal layer will be broken down if the person consumes alcohol. ಯಾರು ಆಲ್ಕೋಹಾಲ್ ತಗೊಂತಾರಲ್ಲ ಇದನ್ನ ಬರ್ನ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಆಲ್ಕೋಹಾಲ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಎಂಟರ್ ಆಗಿ mucosal wall ಇಂದ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೋಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಸ್ಟಮಕ್ ಓಪನಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸ್ಟಮಕ್ ಅಲ್ಸರ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಮೋರ್ ಕಾಮನ್ ಇನ್ ಆಲ್ಕೋಹಾಲಿಕ್ಸ್, ದೋಸ್ ಹೂ ಡ್ರಿಂಕ್ ಆಲ್ಕೋಹಾಲ್. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಒಳಗಡೆ ಎಕ್ವಿಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇದೆ, ನೀವು ಹಾಳು ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. If you want to really spoil it, you can spoil it, but it is internally very nicely made. Nothing to worry. It will be all, it will show. Okay, now I'm feeling hungry. You eat something. If you are not eating, it is going to burn. Right? Eat something or fill it with at least 1/2 a liter of water so that it gets stretched. Stretch atandre ondakondu rub agala. That's how it will be protected. So whenever you're getting hunger sound, immediately you should consume something so that your stomach wall is not forming any openings or the damaging, some lesions are not formed. Understood this? Remember, whenever you are eating and all, you should think, and as much as possible, don't eat very acidic things, because it's going to already having a lot of acid here. If you eat a lot of tamarind juice, lot of mango pickles and all, it will increase the acidity. Right? Acidity is because of this only. Already it's acidic. You are adding some more, that is going to increase and it will start regurging. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಡಯಾಫ್ರಾಗಮ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಡಯಾಫ್ರಾಗಮ್ ಹೊಡಿತದೆ, this gas comes and it hits, so you will get the hiccups. Hiccups are not because somebody is remembering you, it is only because there will be high acidity in your stomach. Drink a lot of water, make it alkaline, because it is acidic pH. pH is 1.2, highly acidic pH it is. Add some water, add some alkali, which we can settle down. Right? If nothing is available, no ENO is available, you can take the cooking soda, add in water, drink it. It is best way, because not too much, and 1/2 spoon in lot of water, drink it, so that acid plus alkali, salt and water forms. Right? Understand this? Right on. Done. Right on. Stomach. It is a boat-shaped sac-like structure. Boat-shaped sac-like structure that stores the food and digests the food. Stores the food and digests the food. Parts of stomach. It is divisible into 4 parts. First one, cardiac stomach. Second one, fundus. Third one, pylorus. Body and pylorus. All the 4 you are written now. Cardiac stomach, fundus, body and pylorus. 4. Next, write down. Cardiac sphincters. Cardiac sphincters control the entry of food into stomach from esophagus. Control the entry of food into stomach Next, pyloric sphincters. Pyloric sphincters. These control the entry of food from stomach to small intestine. Stomach to small intestine. Next, right? Stomach wall consists of number of gastric glands. Stomach wall consists of number of gastric glands. That produce gastric juice. That produce gastric juice. Gastric juice is highly acidic as it contains hydrochloric acid. Gastric juice is highly acidic as it contains hydrochloric acid. Mucosal wall of the stomach protects the stomach wall from the acidity of gastric juice. From the acidity of gastric juice. Mucosal wall of the stomach protects the stomach wall from the acidity of gastric juice. Next one. Stomach wall is drawn into number of foldings. Called gastric rugae. Number of foldings called gastric rugae. That produce a characteristic hunger sound. Hunger sound when stomach is empty. When stomach is empty. Did you write? Done, all of you? Next, one more sentence, right? Gastric rugae disappear. Gastric rugae disappear when stomach is full. Disappear when stomach is full. Mudita? Okay, so we are done with the stomach. We are now going on to the next part. That is about small intestine. We are only talking about the structure, not yet function. Okay, so don't ask anything about the function because they are not yet started physiology. Still, we are in the structural details. We are not going to the details of the function yet. So don't ask me anything about it. Okay, so let's now move on to the small intestine. So small intestine, I told you, is a very long tubular structure. It has three parts. First one is called as duodenum. Very small, around 6 to 7 inches duodenum. Only 6 to 7 inch in length. C-shaped structure. Second one is called as jejunum. Third one is called as ileum. Okay. Actually, in duodenum, digestion will be completed because all the things are released in duodenum. Jejunum, ileum are the areas where the digestion will complete absorption start taking place. So if you observe any of the intestine, it will be like this, the lining, and there will be number of finger-like projections present here. These are called as villi. These help in absorption. Okay. So if you take the section of the intestine transverse section, okay, you find the structure like this, circular, means this way I have taken. Different layers you will get. Outer layer is called as serosa. Next layer is called as the muscular layer. It is called as muscularis externa. Then another layer is called as, this is the third layer, it is called as submucosa. And totally inner layer is called as the mucosa. This is mucosa. In mucosal layer, you get number of finger-like projections like this. These are called as villi. They help in absorption of the food. This is the lumen, the empty place where the food is passing. So these are the four important parts. One is serosa, second muscular mucosa, third one is submucosa, fourth one is called mucosa, inside which you get the finger-like projections called villi. Right? In this detail, I'll explain you later. Right now, only structural details. Duodenum, jejunum, ileum from the small intestine around 30 to 38 feet in length. Now, each of that, what is important, I am giving you. This is the part. Internally, if you take section, you get villi that help in absorbing the food. Okay? In order to draw anything, write just 1 or 2 lines on this. Right there in small intestine. It is the longest part of alimentary canal. It is the longest part of alimentary canal. It has smaller lumen, therefore called small intestine. and thus called small intestine. It is around 38 feet in length. Around 30 to 38 feet in length. 38 feet in length. It forms highly interwoven loop. It forms a highly interwoven loop. Interwoven ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸುತ್ತಕೊಂಡಿರೋದಂತ. Interwoven loop within the arms of large intestine. Within the arms of large intestine. Within the arms of large intestine. Write down. Intestine possess 4 important layers namely, first one, serosa, outermost layer. Next, submucosa. Submucosa. Not submucosa, you write muscularis mucosa. See, first one is serosa, second muscularis mucosa or muscularis externa. Another one there, muscularis mucosa. Second one, muscularis mucosa or muscularis externa. Third one, submucosa. Fourth one, mucosa. Dash, the innermost layer. That is in contact with lumen of the gut. Lumen of the gut. Next, villi. Villi, V-I-L-L-I, villi. These are the finger-like projections. These are the finger-like projections that absorb the digested food in small intestine. That absorb the digested food in small intestine. Okay. Next, we'll write about the large intestine. I think you have written no, all the 3 parts. Duodenum, jejunum, ileum. Have you written it? Okay, you have written it. Okay, fine. We'll talk about the large intestine because not much we are going to study the structure. Although I am giving just in short, I am giving. It's a big detail we have to learn if you are going to the NEET. Otherwise, also you should know some of the things what I am already giving you. Second is about last one is about the large intestine. Large intestine we call it as colon. Colon. Okay. Actually, at the junction where the small intestine joins the large, this is small intestine. Okay, it will join the large intestine. So here is the large intestine. There will be swollen portion here. Okay, this swollen portion is called cecum. Here will be an appendix. This is appendix. This is the last part of ileum. This is the cecum. This is a part of large intestine. This is a part of small intestine. Even here, you get small valves here that is entering into the cecum. These are called ileocecal valves. They control the entry of undigested food from intestine to the small intestine to the large intestine. It's called as ileocecal valves. Remember this. Then this is called as the vermiform appendix. Vermiform appendix. Okay. Remember, understand this first. This is a small finger-like projection, just like this. It will be very small. There is no internal lumen also. It's just like this. So if the lining enters here, it will be just like this, and it will be moving further like this. So 2 layers. No, it's the lining of this. This is a small thing, right? Normally, appendix in human beings is non-function. It's not functional, right? There is nothing working here. Only some blood vessels are there. It is not going to digest anything. So therefore, in humans, appendix is said to be a kind of vestigial organ. I told you vestigial refers to those organs which are non-functional in humans, but in one organism, but they are functional in other animals. So in humans, the non-functional part is appendix. Because there is no digestion taking place here, but in other cut chewing animals, it will help in cellulose digestion. In humans, it will not do that. Therefore, it's a vestigial organ. And in human beings, you must be knowing there are a lot of vestigial organs, right? I hope you know. Can you tell me some of the vestigial organs in humans? Some of them. One is appendix. Anything else? Ear pinna. This external ear pinna is a vestigial organ. Anything else? Wisdom tooth, yes, good. Wisdom tooth is also vestigial organ in the coming generation. Not earlier, we are all having vestigial organ, that is wisdom tooth is still there. But younger generation, vestigial organ is formed. This wisdom tooth has become vestigial because they are not having the place for the wisdom tooth to appear because skulls are reducing in size. Generation after generation, skull is becoming smaller. No place for your wisdom tooth to appear. Right? So almost all of you will get 28 teeth only. Not last 4 will not appear. Last one set of what you call molar teeth is wisdom tooth is not going to appear. Right? That's also another one. Third eyelid, mammary glands in males. Good. So all these are vestigial organs. So I think we have discussed in the first few classes. Humans are called mobile museums of vestigial organs. We have lots. Then tailbone, we call coccyx, and body hairs are also the vestigial organ. So the lots, right? So that's about the vestigial organ. Now appendix, although it's vestigial organ, is going to give a lot of problems in human beings. What will happen? Suppose imagine you are not having proper food with roughage. You know roughage. Roughage ಅಂದ್ರೆ food ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಫೈಬರ್ಸ್ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಫೈಬರಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆಮೇಲೆ ವಾಟರ್ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ಡೈಜೆಸ್ಟ್ ಫುಡ್ ಬಂದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಗಾಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. It will not move because it is slightly swollen portions to go upwards. If there is no roughage, it can't go up. No water, there is no force to move. So it will stick here, get stuck here. This portion remains like that for a long time, 1 day, 2 days, it will not move from that area. Due to which what happens is called constipation. The person suffers from something called constipation. ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಪೇಷನ್ ಇನ್ಎಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಟು ಪಾಸ್ ದ ಫೀಕಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಫುಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಗಾಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ, ಅನ್ಡೈಜೆಸ್ಟ್ ಫುಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ, ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ he cannot pass the fecal matter 1 day 2 days like that. So why it has happened? Because you don't eat fibers. You are always fond of these maida products. Na? Maida is very dangerous because it doesn't have any roughage. Wheat flour nalle nimge hottu baruttalva, upper one, that is a roughage. But you are having maida, it doesn't have any roughage. Due to which what happened? It will form one thick layer like a slurry. It will get attached to this, stuck to this. So you will not be able to pass the fecal matter. Constipation ಶುರು ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ನೀರು ಅಲ್ಲದೆ ಫೈಬರ್ಸ್ ತಿನ್ನದೇ ಇದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಈ ಇನ್ಫೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಇದೆ, ಇದು ಇನ್ಫೆಕ್ಷನ್ here, this infection will enter into this and this appendix will swell up. ಇಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ನಿಮಗೆ ಇನ್ಫೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಎಂಟರ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ವೆಸಲ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ sensitive agi pain start. There will be a pain in the right corner of your groin. That's called as appendicitis. That's a major disease. Appendicitis disease ಆದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಹೋಗಿ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರ್ಜರಿ ಮಾಡಿ ತೆಗಿಬೇಕು. appendicitis is problematic. ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಟೈಮ್ ಗೆ ಬರ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಬರ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಬಾಡಿ ಕ್ಯಾವಿಟಿ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ಬರ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. This is deadly, very problematic disease. Therefore simple things are given by nature, we should consume it and be healthy. Always when your food intake and your passing motion is normal, you are the most healthy person in the world and most happy person in the world, right? Every day properly eat proper food, have a nice life, pass the fecal matter right time, then you are the most happy and healthy person in the world, right? So otherwise you will get suffer from lots and lots of problems. Okay, till appendix will write, then we'll go to the large intestine. Right? Right down. Okay, write down. Large intestine or colon. It is the wider tube of gut, wider tube of gut. And is divisible into 4 parts. 4 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4. First one, cecum. Then ascending colon or ascending arm of the colon. Transverse colon. Then descending colon. ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, ಹಿಂಗ್ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ಹಿಂಗ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಹಿಂಗ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, right? ಹಿಂಗೆ they will be having number of foldings on this. Ascending colon, first is cecum, ascending colon, transverse colon and descending colon. Okay, the wall has number of folds called haustra. Number of folds called haustra. Large intestine is the seat of large number of microorganisms. Seat of large number of microorganisms. That convert undigested food into fecus. Undigested food into fecus. F-E-C-U-S. Undigested food into fecus. Next, below that you write ileocecal valves. Ileocecal valves. These are the valves present between ileum of small intestine and cecum of large intestine. And cecum of large intestine. I repeat, these are the valves present between ileum of small intestine and cecum of large intestine. I repeated, Nurain. It controls the movement of undigested food from small intestine to large intestine. Undigested food from small intestine to large intestine. Let's write the side heading vermiform appendix. And we'll stop there, and tomorrow you have to remind me where I stopped. Write the side heading vermiform appendix. And let's talk about that tomorrow. Sarina? Are you able to follow all of this? Understanding? Okay, this is very interesting. Start following some good food practices. What did I tell you what to eat today? What did I tell you what to practice to eat? Fibrous food, carrot, radish, and avoiding the refined food like maida and all. Okay, practice that, roughage. So practice that. Otherwise, science is useless if you don't practice. Unless I seen of your child age, they want pizza, bread, and garlic bread. Now those are not good for health. Okay, eat proper food. Right? See you then. Bye. Bye bye. You too have a nice day, dear. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Thanks, dear.